and welcome to the Urban Counseling Clique. My name is April Gibbons. I'm a psychotherapist skilled in adolescent and child therapy as well as mental health disorders. I'm going to introduce the panel today. Today we have Juanice Jones, also skilled in adolescent and child therapy, psychotherapist. We have Melody Parker, psychotherapist as well as a certified school counselor skilled in adolescent and families as well as children. We have with us Mr. Hilton Young, qualified mental health professional and poet skilled in substance abuse and mental health disorders. Today, we're going to talk about the stigma in the Black community as far as mental health. Today, our topic is going to be mental health in the Black community, the stigma. So we're going to start the panel off with just a little discussion about Black people dealing with therapy. Anyone want to go and chime in?
Well, I think the Black community in general, they like to be reactive instead of proactive. There's a stigma in the community with sharing business with others outside of the home. You know, we say what stays in the home or what goes on in the home stays in the home. Sometimes those issues need to be brought to light so we can progress, not just as a people, but as individuals. Now, some people would rather tell their pastors, and that's fine if they have somebody to talk to. But there's nothing wrong when we talk as friends. I see you as my confidant, so I'm going to talk to you about my issues. But as far as seeking professional help, the same thing holds true ethically. We cannot share business, you know, it's not just as a confidant, as a friend, I'm telling you what's going on. It's seeking professional help. We go to the doctor when we're sick. We might not take all of our medicine, again, not being proactive. But we go to the doctor, the dentist, we seek out other professionals. But when it comes to mental health, we don't. For whatever reason, whether it's telling our business or because it's a demonic spirit or whatever the case may be, we just don't go. And maybe once everyone is educated on mental health, maybe more of us will seek the help that we need.
I agree. I think mental health is just as important as our physical health. But a lot of times we take that for granted. We don't look at the fact that we can spend $200 or $300 on hairstyle or hairdo, or we can go buy these $400 purses, but we don't want to spend the money to go see a psychotherapist that can help us with our mental issues or just whatever is going on in life, be it relationships, be it money, family problems, children's issues. Those are some of the things that we in the Black community need help with.
I agree with that, but I also have to come at it from a different perspective because I work primarily with children and adolescents. It's different to have a child sit in front of you or an adolescent sit in front of you and you excite them and ignite a change in them, and then they go home into the same community. You have to realize that even though this generation is open to that change, they are being brought up by generations who are not. So they go back into the same situation with the same idea, even though you just gave them something completely different. So it's very difficult to transcend your idea through generations.
But I think you have to plant the seed. So in working with children and adolescents, we plant the seed. Yes, when they go home, it's something totally different. And they have to abide to whatever their parents' rules and regulations are. But by planting that seed, we're teaching them something that they can take with them as they mature and grow up and, create their own worlds and foundations or whatever for themselves as they become adults. It's about education. And a lot of things that we do come from research and books. And if we don't educate ourselves, open up that book and read, then we're just going to go based on what May and Grammy and all them said.
Right, and I agree with you, but who waters that seed to grow? Because just like you, there has to be some self-motivation. You just said we research, we look for those things. But in the Black community, especially in impoverished areas, no child that I know, no 15, 16, 17-year-old little boy is looking for a library to look up anything. So we plant the seed, but no one waters it. We won't see the fruits of our labor if we're just continually planting seeds and we don't touch the next generation to help water it.
But it starts with that one. We can't allow them. Well, are you a product of your environment?
Yes, very much so.
I'm a product of my environment too. but it's kind of flipping the script. Don't be a product of your environment. There's so much more than this street right here, or than this neighborhood right here. You have to do more to be more, whatever that matter is. You know, so we might see 100 clients within a year or so. But if we can touch that one, then that one is gonna touch, it's a slow trickle effect. But eventually, I try to be optimistic, you know, to see the bigger picture. It's hard, because what all they see is what's on TV, what's in social media, you know, what their family has ingrained in them. And it's a struggle sometimes. And it's very difficult to try to teach them, you're so much more than this.
But also, in order to teach the child or the adolescent, you have to teach the parent. You know, a lot of times in therapy myself, I deal with the teens, but then you have the teens going into that environment, and they're trying to explain to the parent kind of what they learned in counseling. And a lot of times, the parent is, you know, just lost, don't know what's going on. You know, I've had her or had him when I was 16 years old. I'm dependent on my mom to raise him. Now she's 16 or he's 15 or 16. I don't know what to do with him. What you think I should do? You know, he's not listening to me. He's cursing me out. He's hanging out with his friends, staying out late. He's doing drugs. What is it? You know, I need some help. And a lot of times these parents are not just equipped to understand what's going on, you know, with their kids. And number one, I think it's because they don't know how to talk to their kids. The communication with the kid is essential. And a lot of times parents don't know how to start that conversation to
Or
get that
having
bridge
proper
right.
boundaries.
Yeah.
If you're 16, are you really gonna know, you know, how to be a parent? Or your parents being a parent while you're still trying to figure out what you're trying to do with your life?
Yeah, I also think that, from a general standpoint, for us, we think that, once we receive counseling or psychotherapy, then something must be wrong with us. We're either crazy, we've lost our mind, and we've given up. And usually it's a sign of weakness. And sometimes that's what we're taught. If you go to counseling, you're weak in head, you must be weak-minded. And that's not necessarily true. It's just sometimes you need the counseling because you need to be educated. And then there's a big contrast between a kid and an adult, because a kid is open and receptive to anything that you teach them. It's just that as adults, we are taught to be one way, and basically in the black community, we are taught to grow up and be strong-minded and strong-willed. And many times being strong-willed is a sign of weakness, because we're not showing the courage to be able to deal with our inner feelings and our inner thoughts. Because if we cry and say, this bothers me or that bothers me, when we teach people to toughen up, don't be like that. Don't be a punk. Don't be weak-minded and things of that magnitude. But a lot of the times we neglect our feelings and we neglect our emotions for the sake of trying to be strong. And then for that case, we don't deal with the psychological aspect of it, because we try to be strong for everybody else, and we try to put on this facade that we're strong, and really we're very, very weak. So that's my spiel on it. And I think to some degree we have to educate everybody, not just kids, because I know kids are receptive, but we may have to get to those parents first before we get to the kids, because we don't have to worry about the kids being receptive to it. We have to worry about these parents that have come up in these impoverished areas, especially a guy who's taught to be the quote-unquote thug, or you are not a man if you cry, things of that magnitude. And it's hard to penetrate a guy like me who's come up in an impoverished area in my life. And so it's going to take some time. It's going to take some patience. It's a difficult topic. It's easy to sit there and talk about it, but to deal with these type of people on a daily basis is a very difficult and challenging thing to do, because sometimes they won't open up. They won't say anything. You ask open-ended questions, and you still get one-word answers. So I mean, and that's why we're here. We do research and we do certain things to try to get them to open up. And a lot of times it just takes time, especially when you never had that type of environment. And you have a generation of people who have taught you how to be tough, how to be tough, how to be tough, how to be tough. And then now you're telling me now I gotta be soft. Now I gotta open up and now I gotta express my feelings now. Oh no, I'm not
But I
doing that.
think it's building that rapport. It goes a lot with, you don't necessarily have to live in that environment or have went down that same road that your client has to kind of relate to them. So you just kind of have to, be able to build that rapport with that person. If that person is able to open up to you and feel you, then they'll be able to tell you certain things. I may not have came from a homeless background, but I deal with a lot of clients that are homeless. So I can, relate to them on where they are, on their level, and try to bring them in to kind of get out of that environment. Yeah, and it is, it's a process. So it just kind of all depends on where you're at and meeting people where they are. I think that's so important to meet people where they are.
Yeah, I think self-disclosure is a good thing. So a lot of therapists won't agree with that. A lot of therapists speak against it. I think self-disclosure is a big thing too. If you can relate to that person, I think that you should be transparent in some kind of way to get them to open up, because if you're just textbook, usually people can read through that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to read through somebody that's being robotic, straight to the script, and not really unwinding and being transparent and really expressing themselves like, look, I've been there before, and I know what you're going through. I come from that environment. I used to do this. I used to do that. And some people think that it's not filtering to be able to be. Sometimes people think it's unfiltering to be transparent, but I disagree. And I disagree with a lot of theorists who say that too. I know I'm studying it in grad school right now, and a lot of times I disagree. And then cultural competence. And so a lot of therapists speak it, they're not culturally competent enough to be able to really speak on certain things. Maybe in their culture they can speak from that perspective. But when you come from an environment that teaches you be gangster and F the police kind of thing and all the other stuff, hey, you gotta come from another perspective. I don't think a lot of theorists that have come down throughout the years really understand that aspect of it.
A lot of them don't look like us or those people.
That's what I was gonna say.
So they're not going to know how, which makes it harder for us because one, it's not a lot of us. And then two, they're not gonna really seek us. So we have to reach out to them to let them know we're available. This is what we offer. Sometimes, cut our price in half or whatever it takes, just to be available for them. But I think as a unit also, we learn how to kind of cope with like the crazies. We've had maybe somebody in our family, I know somebody who's had a crazy auntie or uncle, and that's just Cousin Joe, he's always been like that. But he could have had bipolar or schizophrenia or what have you, but because that's how they've always been, and we just kind of dealt with it, and we just gonna put him in the corner right now. That's just how he is. Never sought out any type of medical assistance, mental assistance, health
Until
assistance.
it's too late.
Exactly.
Now, when something happens to Uncle Joe or someone,
He's
then
raped someone, he's killed someone, or committed suicide.
and then there's a problem. It's like, man, he was always, showing these signs, but we should have gotten some help.
Yeah. I had 2 points when you said signs and then you think of another. But it's interesting because history has molded us to be that way. We've been molded to be that strong individual who lets Uncle Joe know, like, okay, you're 13, don't go towards Uncle Joe. And of course that's wrong, but in the Black community, change is so hard. It's hard, like we said, Black faces aren't in counseling predominantly. So it's hard for the Black community to trust and to allow that information to let it go and to let that rapport build with other faces, other cultures besides ours. And then you said also, I don't even remember.
I want to make a point. as well about substance abuse. You know, a lot of times, you know, in the black community, in our family, you know, you have that uncle or you have that relative that, you know, drinks all the time or that's on drugs, and you see, you know, so many in the family dynamics that, you know, oh, he's like that, he's a drunk, won't he just stop messing with the alcohol or just leave the drugs alone? And, you know, I wanna tell people that it's not that easy. Working in a population where it's primarily substance abuse, you know, it's 1 day, 1 minute, 1 hour at a time with these people. You know, you have to, the family structure has to come around and give that person the support, and a lot of times it's not there. You know, the family looks at it like, oh, he's a drunk, and that's just what it is. You're not, you know, being kind to that person, you're singling them out as that's just their reality, as opposed to being that supportive person and trying to pull them in so they can get the help that they need, go to AA or different things like that. There's so many people that attend AA and NA and they just going through the motions. You know, it doesn't help them. You know, because they're not willing and they don't have that family support. They're just doing that to either get off probation or, you know, whatever requirement it is that they need to do that for. So I think, you know, in the black community, we need to rally with our family members who are going through those problems as well, and to kind of help them and motivate them instead of belittling them and talking about them because they have this issue.
The signs and symptoms of mental health and with abuse, if you're not educated to see it, you don't see it. And that's one of the major things that I despise on the news, and people say, well, why didn't you see the symptoms of her depression, or why didn't you see the symptoms of her alcoholism? I'm not trained in that. How would I know? And it kind of goes back to what we're talking about. If you don't seek the help, you'll never know.
Also, another thing in approaching this is your language, your speech, your dialect. Is it conducive to a colloquial environment? Particularly when you approach somebody. Like, I have a client, and we stood outside the dinner section for a while, and he smokes. He has gold teeth all across his arm, and so I can't talk to him as intellectually as I'm talking to y'all.
Mm-hmm.
So I may have to say, "What's up? What it do? What's good? Give me some dap, give me some love, you know, dap it all, right now." And sometimes we don't do that. Sometimes we don't loosen up. Now, you know, you can be as intellectual as you want to be, but it's not going to work if you talk to somebody that's used to standing on the corner, 5 o'clock in the morning, getting ready to sell whatever you're getting ready to sell. And because this guy is so used to standing outside, that's why we have ourselves. And I make sure I dress according to the environment that I am, and not wearing a certain attire, looking like some private eye getting ready to wrestle.
Yeah.
You know, because they gotta trust you, and the only way they're gonna open up to you is if you play the part and you dress the part and you speak it. So I cannot act like I've never came from that environment before, and then get so intellectually sound and educated that I can't be colloquial.
Yeah.
You know, so I think speech and language is also something that plays a part into it too.
It plays a part into the building rapport aspect of it. I think that's important, and a lot of times, you know, we want to talk to people that looks like us. You know, no offense to any other, you know, outside cultural, you know, therapist. It's just that it's an easy building rapport when you have someone that looks like you. And a lot of times, you know, like you said, we need to, you know, be available and let people know that we are available. But a lot of times they're scared. You know, they don't want to seek the help because the stigma of being called crazy.
Why would I pay someone
Exactly.
to tell my business to when I can either pray about it or
go talk to my pastor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's an important role as pastors as well to know when it's important to refer, when it's important to know that, you know, this is beyond your scope of what you can deal with. And a lot of times, you know, the pastors will preach, well, you know, it's just the demon or whatever the case may be, and not letting these people, some people actually needs medication. You know, everybody don't. Some people can work it out through talk therapy and counseling, but some people have some deep-rooted issues where they may need some drugs to help them, you know, kind of cope with some of the things that they're going through.
Well, the scripture says faith without works is dead, so you have to put some works, whether it's the talk therapy and a little medication, or medication alone, whatever the works is, there has to be some work besides the praying. Yes, prayer does change things, I'm a believer in that, but you have to put some action, take a
Yeah.
step or two. And another thing, we can't just go to one session, oh, I feel so much better, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
We do that
And
a
then,
lot too.
then not come back
Yeah.
until something happens.
Exactly.
Like right now, I'm dealing with that, with the client, and it's her son, and it's just like, oh, everything's fine, can you work with my other child now?
Mhm.
Well, work with the other child, oh, well, we need you for him. Oh, well, no, never mind, cause he's fine now. You know,
Yeah.
it doesn't really work that way.
Mhm.
It's a give and take, yes, but it's a continual, and you have to
Yeah.
see some change, some progression.
Yeah, some gradual change.
Exactly.
They feel like after one session, it's a
Yes.
quick fix, and a lot of time, after 2 more, months or so down the line, you call them back, well, she's having the same problem again. I had that issue with a client as well. Well, she'll talk to you, okay, when I wanted to do the sessions back to
Exactly.
back with you, you said she was fine after one, and I informed you of, okay, this is a temporary fix. She may be fine now, but in about a month, she's gonna start exhibiting those same things. You have to carry this out. And they don't believe, just like, it goes back to the money aspect. You will spend $100 on a purse, to go get your hair done, but you won't spend the money when it's
They pick
time
and
to
choose. Like you'll put them in a camp
Yeah.
for basketball or football and spend all that money for the uniforms, cause you want them to make it. Sports is what's gonna get them out of this community and better living situation. Probably so. What about their mental capacity? Are you putting them in an educational camp? All of that works together. Again, it's about educating our people.
But we as a people are about instant gratification. We want it now, we want it fast.
Mhm.
And it's true, counseling is so far from that. It's a process, and if you don't, it's a daunting process.
Mhm.
And if you don't follow it all the way through, the results aren't there. They're just, you can't complete that.
And then, the people have to want it as well. A lot of people come to sessions, sometimes, they come because they feel like they have to, or sometimes they feel like they're obligated, and so they don't really take the sessions seriously. They're just doing it because somebody has ordered them to do it, or somebody has told them, just go ahead and do it. Like, for married couples who go to counseling, sometimes they go to counseling to be right, and so they wanna find out how right they really are instead of trying to fix it, they're trying to be right. And so a lot of people just come thinking that, okay, I'm gonna be right, I know this, I know that, I know this, I know that, and then they don't open themselves up to be educated or to be counseled in the area that they need the most, because they think they know it all. And so you can go to a session and still not want it to happen. And so, some people say, well, I'm here, ain't I? Well, no, that doesn't mean that you want it, that doesn't mean you wanna fix anything, it doesn't mean that you wanna really get things, right in your life because you're here. You hear means that you made the effort to be here, but if you still don't want it, it's still gonna show that you don't want it.
But I think you can learn something in the process though, even though they come in reluctantly and they don't want it, as they continue to come, the rapport starts to build and they start to let their guard down. If you're a good therapist, they start to let their guard down, and then they start to open up and start to want to come, to enjoy the sessions because they're learning something. They're getting something out of it. The growth, you start to see the change. That's what I love about the profession, the change that I can see evolve from session to session. When this person came to me initially lost and crying, to when they leave me and they're happy and they're thankful and they're appreciative because they found a new leash on life. They know how to cope with different issues that they're having at that point. And it's not a quick fix. It may take 3 or 4 sessions.
Yeah, and and with that being said, you still have to confront that issue, because they can come reluctantly and they can have the success, but sometimes you have to confront that issue empathically and say, I know you made it here. It's good that you made the effort to come here, but what do you hope to accomplish by this? Because if you come in reluctant, if you come in and you have your own set of rules behind coming, then this may not work for you. And sometimes you just have to be straight up with them and confront them just to make sure that that they're here for them to try to get better and not just come and just waste their time. Cause I don't know, if I'm a counselor, I'm sure just don't wanna take somebody's money. You come in session, and sometimes I would be real with them. I'm not a counselor yet, but I'll be real with them and say, well, look, if you just want me to keep giving me the money, I'll take your money. I have to eat, but I still want to help you out. So let me help you, and so I'm kind of unorthodox in the way, and maybe that's not technique-ish to say that to somebody, but black people,
But
you gotta be real with black people, you know what I'm saying? You can't sugarcoat nothing around black people, especially the hard ones, but I'll be glad to take your money, but hey, so.
There is no script. I mean,
Yeah.
you don't go, we're taught certain stuff in school to
Right.
use theories and to use techniques on how to approach different situations. But when you get into a session, that's live, that's real. So you dummy all that down and you become real. As you, whatever you need to do to help that particular person. No, I had a client before and said that, they were bringing their child and then, call me that morning, my child don't wanna come, he won't get out of bed. Who the parent? Are you the parent or is the child the parent? So who's gonna make this decision? That's the problem right there. He don't wanna move and you allowing it. So, we have to be proactive as well as parents and not let our children dictate what we do when we see that they need help. Okay?
That's true.
All right, you guys, so we're gonna wrap it up. That wraps up our session of mental health in the Black community today. If you guys are interested in anything else that we have to say or any suggestions on what we should talk about, hit us up. Our email address is urbancounselingclique@gmail.com. That's URBAN counseling clique CLIQUE @gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.